Beautiful ones. We are going to talk about love, relationships, and seeking to feel powerful and centered outside of ourselves. I am Bird Mejia, and this is
Tyrone. we're gonna have to work on that. I don't know why, but it just seems very odd.
Okay. Yeah, I know. So
Bird Mejia and Tyrone.
And Tyrone. We have to sing that song, Tyrone. Tyrone. Yes. Anyway, so we had this beautiful discussion today about love, and we've gotten to sex and all this other stuff, but how we seek it ourselves outside of ourselves. And Tyrone's known me for a few years, and I used to be searching for love outside of myself to have that spiritual center. And my journey has now been like, I have this within myself. I don't need that. And so we want to have this discussion about what love is and how often we're seeking, whether we're in a relationship or not, we put that stuff outside. We put our happiness, we put our spiritual center in another.
Yeah. So speaking of relationships, it's nice to have someone who shows affection towards you, especially if you're looking for it, or an appreciation. It feels good. We're in a sense distracted from that, from our center, our balance, our inner self, when we put focus on someone outside of us in a relationship. So we think our source of happiness is in this other person. They're responsible for making me happy, but the only person responsible for making you happy is you. And when you understand that, you learn to center and go into that, then you're happy no matter who you're with. And you open the space for that reflection to enhance you, essentially. But it's never outside of you.
Yes. And I know, so a lot of you are meeting, twin flames and soulmates. And, and I feel like there's this pressure, especially, I'm going to speak as a woman, like to be in a relationship. I get stuff, because I've chosen to be on this journey of being celibate. I've been celibate for more than 2.5 years now, just because I wanted this space is to be and to make sure that what I'm healing and other things I'm letting go are just within my sphere. And I have Tyrone, I have really high standards. Like, you got to be doing, Bird's been doing the work. I'm not going for, I don't care if you're soulmate or twin flame, if you're not, no, Bird's not. So we were having this discussion about this and about how often so many of us, like, and especially as women, like, we're not okay. Like, I have people comment all the time. They're like, well, you're a good looking woman. Why are you alone? Like, why would you choose this? Like, can't you get someone? Like, there's this thing, like, there's something wrong with you or something faulty. Like, why is not a man with you? Like, there must be something wrong with you. You must be crazy under, in the background. Like, the stuff. I know, but you get that, right? Like we're not okay on our own. Well, and you don't want to always be, we're in a relationship, right? I know that I'm going to be in a beautiful relationship, but when I am, like, all my stuff's not going to be, this is what's going to make me happy, right? It's important to center yourself and find your spiritual center within yourself. It's never anyone else's responsibility. And a lot of times we're seeking, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be healed. We're looking for all this stuff outside of ourselves instead of right here.
Yeah, I relate to a false sense of self. So, in my experience with others, and not like in a relationship with others, but understanding others, and they express how, they're seeking love. They want a relationship of love. The love doesn't come through the relationship. The love comes through the connection to yourself, through source. And when you are connected in that place of presence, that allows you to access that energy of love that flows like through that space. So once you connect to that, you start to embrace that feeling of love, that energy of love. And then when that flows with you, then it'll flow through and with others. But the whole sense of that source or feeling of love comes from you. So think about, be mindful of that, tap into that. And then the relationships that show up for you will be love relationships. It still goes deeper than that, but that's, I guess on a surface level, priority is you. And once you learn to tap into that, connect to that, become balanced in that, love flows through you, and then it'll show up around you.
Yes, and you're able to connect. The way that I like to describe it is Eartha Kitt, she says it beautifully. She goes, I fall in love with me, and I share my fallen in love with me, with you having fallen in love with you. So that's what you're sharing with another person, is that you've fallen in love. And really, when we fall in love with ourselves, or even when we fall in love with another, we are fallen in love with the manifestation of spirit, right? And this is where we come from, right? And we put it on this other person, and this is just the one person. But it's a remembrance, really. When we fall in love, it's remembrance of who we are. We're all luminous beings connected to source.
So one thing to remember is we're all connected. When you really start to understand that, it's extremely powerful when you're talking relationships, to know that we're all connected to each other. It essentially, for me, it allows me to show up in a way that I contribute to everyone. By contributing to myself, I contribute to everyone else. If I harm myself, if I harm another, then I'm just causing harm for myself. So what does that harm look like? If I criticize, if I'm judgmental, if I'm mean, and that's projected towards somebody else, I'm only harming myself. And I think it's accurate to say, for me to do that to another person, I come from a place or an idea of being separate. And this is just conditioning over time as we grow from childhood to think that we're all separate. So I can be mean to that person, and that doesn't affect me, but in actuality, it does. So be mindful of the idea that we're all connected.
And I want to leave this conversation, because I know some of you are watching because you are going through some heartbreak and some relationship stuff. You're always connected to everyone you love, because the heart, just like we're here, this technology, your heart is 5,000 times more powerful than your brain, and this is more powerful than this technology. You're always connected, so you're always with everybody you love forever.
Yes, if you are, because we're talking about relationships, if you're going through some hard relationship challenges, be willing to share questions, ideas. It's okay to express, and we can share amongst each other to create transformation between all of us, especially in that area of relationships, because that's a big challenge for lots of us.
Yes. All right, beautiful ones. We will talk more. Let us know what questions you have or what other things you want us to talk about. So much to share, right? All right. Sending light.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.